righteous and all the witness decision. And he quote that hinge, no camera. I've been on his connection every time and I got an idea. We're from my pocket, we're every year. It's no problem, we're going to stop it, we're going to stop it. You told a story like Shorty was feeling you. She told a story like she needed a break. You look at my story, man, I'm going to write it. And I see it, man, I don't get excited. I'ma just fly, I said my fucking double way. You ever see to me going the other way? Can I be seeing that from the other day? Virgil was sitting me out on color. Please don't be stupid as baby and gun. And baby, you wanted the soul, I just wanted next time I'm in Dallas, I look for another you. Fell off, no. So I take it into a boat. Don't let it go, I made it up. He didn't even get to the end of the boat. Give me baby, you know you in trouble. Running my shit, I'm running the show. Something's up there, my baby, my brother. Painted up, look the interior,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Okotoks, Alberta. We are here on Hockey TV. Mike Gould alongside Mark Frank for this evening's AJHL regular season hockey game with your Oilers hosting the Fort McMurray Oil Barons. Goodness me, a four-word team name. That's just going to be a tongue twister, especially on a Tuesday night. We're still getting into the week. And Mark, how are you doing?
Good. And we call them the Mob.
The Mob.
That's all you got to know, right?
Yeah, they're the Barons. That's a fitting name. Oilers coming off a game against the Sherwood Park Crusaders that they dropped by a 2-0 score in a shootout after a last-second game-tying goal by Brody Spencer-Haw. We weren't there, but we can say that the preceding game was a pretty big win for the Oilers, where they continue to score pretty effectively. Their goaltending was all right, and it's just one of those games that they won, and they're starting to move up in the AJHL South Division.
They are, and it's they're getting good goaltending from Parker Saka. The team is just the team. You can say Sam Huck, and Connor Hillier. Okay, you're getting some goal scoring and some offense out of those two guys, but everything else is it's a team-focused game, and they're buying into the systems that they play, and we'll see if they. Quick starts for Okotoks, right? All the games that they played here, they're 4-2 here at home this month, and they start very fast and they start very hard and they forecheck very, very well. And teams are struggling. It takes most teams a period and a half to try and figure out their forecheck, and then it's too late.
Well, and you talk about good goaltending, even Alex Shivler the other night in Sherwood Park, .960 save percentage, 24 of 25, and a 2-1, I should say, shootout loss for the Oilers. Pretty good performance there. We'll see Parker Saka in net tonight for the Oilers, and a couple players making returns to the lineup, and Sam Huck and Nick Wolfenberg should be interesting. And of course, Connor Hellier continues. He didn't score against Sherwood Park, but he's up to 11 goals in 13 games, including another one against Canmore the other night. And we chatted with Oilers head coach and GM Tyler Dice, in part against what has made Hellier so valuable to the team in the early goings of the season.
Okay, joined now by Okotoks Oilers head coach Tyler Dice. And Tyler, first of all, just want to talk to you about the last game. Connor Hellier didn't score, and that's sort of unusual for him these days because it feels like he's scoring every other game now. And just what has made him so effective to start this season?
Well, he's just an all-around player, right? He plays 200 feet, and, a lot of those goals, he goes to the hard areas in front of their net, so he scores a lot of those goals around their goalie. So, he goes there, and obviously he's getting rewarded for it.
And Brody Spencer, obviously, the late game tying goal on that one. Alex Shivler, lots of saves for the Oilers and a low-scoring game. But what are your takeaways coming out of that one as you face off against a Fort McMurray team that has a pretty similar record to you guys?
Yeah, we knew going into Sherwood Park it was going to be a tight game. So, we knew they played tight defense. Their goalies are good. So we kind of expected that kind of game. And to be honest with you, it's going to be the exact same kind of game today, I believe. Their goalie's really good. They play tight defense here. So I'm thinking it's going to be a tight game today.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the goaltender for Fort McMurray because Ness, 6 games, he's a rookie. I don't think you guys have seen him yet, really, but .953 save percentage, that's something that catches your eye. And what have you done to try and prepare for this game against those guys?
Well, we just got to try and create second and thirds here. So we need a lot of second and third opportunities, and then just kind of go from there, right? Just make it hard, make them move, and get a lot of shots there. Those outside shots, he's just going to swallow them up and die it off. So, we're just going to have to try and create those second and third opportunities.
Tyler Dice, head coach of the Okotoks Oilers.
And indeed, that was Tyler Dice, the head coach of the Okotoks Oilers, talking about what his team has to do to solve Fort McMurray, which currently sits 5th place in the North Division with a 7-5-1 record. Pretty similar to the Oilers, who are 8-5-2 in the early goings of the 22-23 season. And Mark, this isn't really a matchup we see all that often. But what are you looking forward to seeing from both sides tonight?
Well, these teams are I don't know because we haven't seen Fort McMurray, but I'm going to tell you, I think they're identical. The Mob is 6-2 on the month, and Okotoks is 5-3-1. So they're both kind of staying the same. The goals against, both teams are spectacularly low in the league. The Mob, 40 goals against. They've only allowed 40. They've only gotten 38. The difference with Okotoks is they've allowed 42, but they've scored 60. So they're both very defensive-minded teams, but the Oilers can score goals.
Yeah, I think the singular presence that separates the Oilers from the Oil Barons in this matchup is Connor Hellier, ultimately. Because you talk about the balanced attack, and they absolutely both have balanced attacks, but right there at the centerpiece for the Oilers, they have a guy in Hellier who's scoring goals like it's keeping him alive. He's just doing it at an unbelievable rate so far to start this season, already up to 11, which last I checked, and it's been a while since I checked, but he was 3rd in the league with 11 goals, and he's also one of the younger guys up at the top of the charts. And it's big that they're getting Sam Huck back. I just hope that he can stay in the lineup. That's just been the thing that's sort of been hurting him to start this year.
They rested him in the second period, or the third period of the last game. He was not hurt. Everybody thought, oh no, here we go. They just rested him. And yes, with the Fort Mac, there isn't a line. They've got their lines. One line has 9 goals, one has 10, and one has 11. So it's spread out, but it's not a lot of goal scoring. Hellier's line with Sam Huck and Gorley have 21. So that's the difference right now that, it's got to be that Hellier line and Gorley and Sam Huck that do well. They're facing the top goaltender in the league right now in Ness. He's number 1 in the AJ, and hopefully you can catch him off guard, right? Fort Mac came in yesterday. They play 4 games tonight, tomorrow in Canmore, then they got a day off, then they go to Black Falls, then Camrose. So they've got a 4 games in 5-night swing, and it's too bad that you don't get them on the 4th night or the 4th game, right? But they're ready to go. They had a great warm-up, too, out there.
Yeah, so we talk about the Oil Barons. We mentioned Andrew Ness, the goaltender, 3-1-0, 953 save percentage. Obviously, that's probably not going to stay quite that high for the rest of the season, although it is one heck of a run to start this year. And we caught up with the head coach and the GM of the Oil Barons, Adam Manna, before tonight's game to chat with him about his star goaltender and what his team has to do tonight here in Okotoks.
All right, joined now by the head coach and the general manager of the Fort McMurray Oil Barons, Adam Manna. And Adam, as you gear up for this game against the Oilers, pretty similar records for your two teams. And just what's been making your goaltender, Andrew Ness, so successful through his first 6 starts with your team?
Well, he's got good size, he's very mobile, and he plays under control. He just keeps everything calm and quiet back there. And he's exceptional playing pucks and getting out there to help our defense on breakouts, and I mean that makes everybody's life easier when he can do that. But all in all, I mean he's just so calm in there, and he's a gamer, simply put. I mean he rises up in the big games. We saw that at Showcase against Drumheller, and then he did the same thing in Drum when we needed a win on the second night, Drayton Valley. So I mean, all in all, he's been very, very good, and we'll see how he does tonight.
And then sort of on the other end, it's no secret Connor Hellier's been off to a crazy start for the Oilers so far. And just how confident do you feel about your defensive game plan today?
Well, we've been working at it. Our breakouts, our exits, our D-zone coverage, we've been really putting an emphasis on that, especially the last couple weeks here. So hopefully, I mean, this past weekend was a good weekend for us in terms of limiting chances or goals against. And hopefully, again, we know Okotoks is quick. They're skilled and they got a lot of IQ over there. So we got to be really good on our tracking game, and we got to be really good with our attention to detail, especially in our own end.
That's Adam Manna, the head coach of the Fort McMurray Oil Barons.
Had to leave that one in there because it's a bit of a tongue twister.
You'll get it.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting Oilers, Oil Barons. You know, it's not quite Rough Riders against Rough Riders, but it's sort of similar. You talk about Canada West. You know, you got two Cougars teams. You got Mount Royal and you got Regina. I mean, boy oh boy, that can get really tricky. But nevertheless, it's the Fort McMurray Oil Barons against the Okotoks Oilers on this Tuesday evening here in Okotoks. Mike Gould here alongside Mark Frank, and you know, Mark, it was actually really nice to catch up with Adam Manna, because he and I both did games at the Brick Tournament this past year up in Edmonton. That's always a fun opportunity. And Fort McMurray, you know, they come into this game. They only have one score with 6 goals. The Oilers have one score with 11 goals, but nobody else with 6. But they've got a pretty well-rounded attack in Max McCoy, who's a guy who we're a little bit familiar with. But, you know, looking up and down this roster sheet, it's going to be an interesting test for the Oilers today, and I think it's really big for them to get Nick Wolfenberg back. We've talked about Nick a lot, him being a big character guy, and we also have to, I just want to talk a little bit about how big is it that Ty Yoder is finally on the scoreboard for this Oilers team.
Well, he's needed it. You know, I think taking him off the draw and putting him on the wing the other night and everything, just make him feel a little comfortable coming back. It takes a while, you know, and he's an older guy. He's been through this rodeo, so that's okay. And with Wolfenberg, you know, just don't hit too hard and you won't get suspended, right? It's just he's a player back there, and now he's been gone for 2, so it might take him a period or so to get up and going. But massively important hockey player for the Oilers in the back end, and the Oilers defensive core as a whole, you know, they're very, very strong.
Yeah, Wolfenberg, I would say, is probably one of the leading candidates to maybe get a commitment at some point this year, and he's just been a fantastic player on the back end for the last 2 seasons now, as he really developed into his body in the AJHL last year, and he's just a huge part of this team's success going forward. And Yoder, you know, you talk about it. We watched Ty Yoder. I watched Ty Yoder in that game that the Oilers played against Calgary. I think that was one of his last games for a while before he missed 6 or 7 with an injury, and he came back, and he just looked out of sync. That was my main issue with Ty Yoder. And now Zeth Kindrachuk is heating up as well a little bit too. He's starting to get on the board. I think he has goals in maybe 2 of his last 4, 2 of his last 3, something like that. And they're going to be 2 to watch in this evening's hockey game, and of course Connor Gorley as well. Well, Mark, we're coming to the end of our pregame show. Any last thoughts of players who you're going to watch specifically closely on the Oilers tonight?
No, I'm going to see how they start. I mean, that's the big thing for them in their forecheck. You know, they have a very, you know, Manna talked about it, they've got a lot of IQ over on that bench, and that's coaches as well as players. And they've, you know, it's not a star-laden team, but a very experienced group of veterans, you know? And you know, they know the systems and they work hard at it, and teams have trouble. So we'll see if the Mob can get out of their own zone and handle that forecheck right off the bat. So that's going to be the game for me.
Both teams about to come out of the tunnels, and we will take a step back here on Hockey TV. Mike Gould alongside Mark Frank, and when we're back, it'll be time for Puck Drop here at Okotoks Centennial Arena on this Tuesday evening. Stick around.
Fans, it's time to welcome your Okotoks Oilers! Here's tonight's starting lineup presented by Infinite Wealth Management. On defense, number 10, Jamie Miller. Also on defense, number 2, Cade Turner. On left wing, number 28, Seth Kindrichuk. At center, number 7, Austin Reshmi. On right wing, number 9, Ty Yoder. And in goal, number 31, Parker Saka. Tonight's Future Oiler is presented by Sobeys Okotoks. Playing for the U7 Senior Flyers, his favorite Oilers are Nolan Flint, Jagger Tapper, and Connor Gorley. Please welcome 6-year-old Hudson Rose. To enter your job for the chance to be the next Future Oiler, fill out the entry form at Sobeys and Okotoks. The starting lineup is brought to you by Infinite Wealth Management, offering a wealth planning approach, integrating specialized tax, retirement, and estate planning needs to small business owners. Tonight's national anthem is presented by Caseta Burritos and Tacos at 420 McRock Lane in Okotoks. Now, for those of you who are able, we now ask that you please rise and remove your hats and join Zoe Balkwell in the singing of O Canada.